Hi, welcome to the AVEVA World Digital event. My name is Arish Rojas, National Channel Manager from Win911. And here with us today, Chris Cave, Product Support Engineer. Today's session is titled Win911 Alarm and Notification Software with Remote Connectivity. So you might ask, who is Win911 and what do we do? Well, we're the most widely alarm notification software with over 17,000 facilities deployed in 70 different countries, partnerships with all major SCADAs and HMI vendors, such as AVEVA, AVEVA System Platform, AVEVA InTouch, and AVEVA Edge. Our headquarters is located in Austin, Texas, but we have offices in France, Mexico, and China. And we have a world-class network of distributors and system integrators to help you. So let's talk about what are the industries that we manage. Oil and gas, food and beverage, life science, manufacturing, and water wastewater are our top 5 industries. But all of the industries that we've seen here, such as mining, data centers, aerospace, building management, and much more, are industries that we work on. Now that we have talked about that, what does Win911 do? We deliver the right notification to the right person at the right time. In the image below, you can see on the left-hand side, we have the industrial alarm event happening inside of your HMI or your SCADA system inside of your plant. Well, Win911 is the brains. We do the collaboration, scheduling, reporting, and escalation of those alarms. Now, what ways do we do that escalation? How do we send out that alarm? There's 5 major ways that we do that. Via our Win911 mobile app, via text, via voice, announcer, and email. Now, out of those 5, 4 of them are two-way encrypted communication. The Win911 mobile app, the text, the voice, and the email are two-way communication, meaning you can acknowledge back to the SCADA. Now, the announcer is not. That's the only one that is one-way communication. Next, we'll talk about AVEVA System Platform. And how does Win911 integrate with it? Well, we're able to subscribe and filter the alarms via attribute name, area name, priority. Now, the next thing, we also do that via MX Access. That's the API that Win911 uses to integrate with AVEVA System Platform. Next, we'll talk about AVEVA InTouch. Our APIs that we use is the Alarm Toolkit and SweetLink. We're able to connect to multiple InTouch applications, remotely connect to InTouch, and we're able to subscribe and filter your alarms via tag name, group, and priority. Last but not least, InTouch Edge, also known as Web Studio or InTouch ME in the past. We're able to communicate and integrate via TCP server, and this allows for connections with multiple local and remote Web Studio projects. The way that we subscribe and filter is via groups, messages, tag names, and priority. Now, why is Win911 integrate so well with the AVEVA products? Because we dynamically receive new alarms, and we're able to maintain those alarms inside of your SCADA, meaning InTouch, InTouch Edge, or System Platform, and we're able to acknowledge seamless back to the SCADA. From Win911, one of the 5 notification methods, back to your SCADA. With that, I'm going to pass it along to Chris Cave, and he'll do a live demo of the Win911 product.
Thank you, Arish. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Cave. I work in product support. You may have worked a ticket with me in the past, and always happy to help. Today, we're going to be doing a demo on InTouch and how Win911 has this direct connect to InTouch. This is going to be our workspace. This is how you configure Win911. And I like to break it down into basically 3 easy modules to remember. We have our contacts. This is going to be our section where we connect to our notifiers and connect to our phone book, which users we're going to be using, which alarm formats we'd like to see or hear, what roles our users may share, and any schedules you want to create. Notifications is where we create our call-out list. We use our strategies to determine what policies we take. And then the strategy is what triggers our tactic, which is our call-out list. And finally, we have the alarming section. This is our connection to the data source. Here we are connecting to InTouch, and we can either use subscriptions or import tags. We'd like to use an easy solution of configuration for using left to right. So you usually want to start with the left side, contacts, create your gateway first. You can set it up for voice to our Grandstream device or to Cisco or SIP providers. And then we can use SMS modems, cellular modems that connect either through serial or telnet. And then email, this can be your email server on your network, or it could be your connection to Gmail, which is what I'm using in this case. And then finally, our Win911 Mobile. We provide you with the username and temporary password that you use to set up a connection to Microsoft Azure. Once you have your gateway set up, then it's time to set up your connections, your users. Each notifier has its own grouping for its users that you create. So if you do have the same user that wants to be a voice call and maybe a mobile notification, you would just create them twice in there, once for the phone number and then once for the mobile connection. Once you have your connection set up, then you're ready to create your call-out list. And from there, we just stick to going from left to right, going to notifications, and then our tactics and our basic. Here's an example of our basic tactic for today. And here we have some options where you can delay the notification if you'd like. Maybe you want to give the alarm time to go inactive. The repeats is how often this list will repeat. And then here we have retries, which is the retry between the connection itself. Perhaps the first connection fails and it retries it. The delay after is a way of using escalation. So perhaps Arish wanted to acknowledge the alarm first. Maybe he always wants to see it. We could put a delay after of 10, 30 minutes here. In this case, I put it after myself, so Arish and myself get the alarm at the same time. And if the alarm hasn't been acknowledged within 30 minutes, it'll repeat based on the repeats here and send us another notification. Once we have our tactic, our call out list set, then we can create our strategy, and we're just going from left to right still. On our strategy is our policy maker. This is what determines what tactic to start, what to do if the alarm state change were to occur, like once it's acknowledged, does it re-notify us, and then how we want to stop the call out. The default selection is a terminal stop condition, which means the alarm has to be acknowledged and returned to normal. We prefer, in this case, to use when the alarm is acknowledged. So that means, let's say you have voice connections, the first person gets called, he acknowledges, that stops the call out list right there. So nobody else on the list gets called. Once we have our strategy set up, then it's time to assign it to an alarm. And to bring in alarms, we can use subscriptions. And for subscriptions, we can do it by tag name, group name, or priorities, whether you want to specify a certain priority or a priority range. Once you have your filters set, then it saves it to become available to actually bring in the alarms. And from there, we do it under application. This is going to be our connection to InTouch on the local host. And it's our subscription route that pulls in the alarms based on the subscription we're using. Our default is all alarms, so that says give me every alarm from InTouch, and we're going to trigger the strategy, which in turn, the strategy triggers the tactic, and the tactic is what sends out the notification to us. There is a way to bring in multiple groups of alarms to call different people. Perhaps you want a set of priority alarms, high priority alarms, to go to another group. And the way this works is that the alarm always checks the rank 1 subscription. If it matches, then it will use this strategy to call a different group. If it doesn't match, then it will go to the catch-all here for all alarms and then call my other group. But for today, we're going to use just one for all alarms to call Arish and myself. So we'll go ahead and save that. And just to cover these others real quick, this is where you can set up reporting to give you reports on alarms. Well, not necessarily alarms, sorry, but the tags. It doesn't matter if these are in alarm states or not. They'll to give you the report of the values of those tags at the time. And then system is where we can put the system in standby or activate or check the info of this system. Now, once the system's configured, then it's time to start triggering alarms, and we use Log Viewer to determine what alarms we are seeing in Win911. So here, if I trigger my analog alarm, we'll see it pop into Log Viewer. And each alarm will have its own alarm row. So if I trigger another alarm, we should see another pop up. And as the list builds, it'll just kind of feed down, going downwards, and there is a scroll bar. We can go to a simpler summary screen where we're just looking at the summary of the notifications, what alarms came in and who got notified. And we can also check historical data by unchecking the box here, setting a date range, and seeing what happened in the past. And then we can also export for historical data. And this option will let you export to a PDF file or CSV file. Now, once the alarms are in queue, once they're live, we can always double click on alarm row to drill down into it and see the details of what happened for that alarm. So here we see our notifications that we received. We can see who acknowledged the alarm. We can see the strategy that it took and what happened with the tactic. And so we saw our tactic earlier is it's going to notify Rish, notify myself. Going to wait 30 minutes to give us a chance to acknowledge that alarm. If we don't acknowledge that alarm in 30 minutes, it'll send us another notification to our phone. And then lastly, we can always see the state changes here. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge this alarm, and you'll see that it acknowledges back to the SCADA, and it tells us who acknowledged the alarm. So in this case, it was Log Viewer. If a Rish were to acknowledge from his phone, it would show a Rish. If I acknowledge from my phone, it would show myself. And with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Arish so he can demonstrate the mobile app itself, and you can see all the goodies inside there.
Thank you, Chris. So let's start this. I'm going to share my cell phone. I'm going to click here. And everybody should be able to see the alarms popping up here. All right, before that, I want to show you that there is pop-ups coming through. Alarm tag description, right? I can see the alarm coming through. And let's go ahead and let's go back to my alarms. Okay, so as you can see, I have an alarm. All alarms digital 2. Let's go ahead and click on that. In the Win911 mobile app, you're going to be able to have as much as information as you like or as little. And we'll go and through that in a second. But right now, as it stands for, we have area, tag description, condition description name, native severity, value, event time, gateway, and so on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to acknowledge. And I'm going to acknowledge back to the SCADA. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm remote acknowledging, test. It's going to take just about a second. Now we can see that that alarm has been acknowledged back to InTouch. Now, if you go right below value, you'll see actor. And my name is provided there, meaning that I, Arish Rojas, have acknowledged via the Win911 mobile app. Now, something that is very neat that a lot of customers request, and this is taking it to the next level, is the chat. So if you go to the top, right in the middle where it says chat, we can do test. Now, this chat is available to anybody that has seen this alarm. So now, if Chris is able to go ahead and text back, we should be able to see that. And I think there was a text right now, and he will say hello from Chris Cave. Now, on the top right, we can go to team. In team, you can see anybody that has seen or not seen yet this alarm. As you guys can see, if we click in Arish Rojas, you can see when it was acknowledged at 2:36 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can see that Chris saw these at 2:37 p.m. Excellent. Now that we know how the alarms work, how you're able to chat and interact with your team members, and you're able to see who has seen and not seen the alarm, let's go to the top left, 3 lines, and click on settings. Remember that I talked to you guys about how you're able to add and delete information as much as you want to see? Right here under formats, you can click on alarm details, and from here you can see all of the details available right now to be seen. In this case, I'm going to take alarm ID off, limit off, system off, and then I am going to put condition description. So I took a couple of them off and I added one. Let's go back to the alarms and see what has changed. Go back to the 3 lines at the top, click on alarms, take a look at that alarm, and if we scroll down, now the source is in there. Fantastic, it works. From here, let's go back to settings, and a couple different things that I wanted to show you. Do not disturb. What happens when you are on vacation and you don't want to get any pop-ups? Well, you can click do not disturb. You can say, hey, I am going to be off Christmas and the 25th as well, and I'm not coming back until Monday. And let's say that I'm going to be back here at 7 a.m. We're going to change that right over here. Excellent. 7 a.m. and set. Now I am in do not disturb mode, so I will not receive any more pop-ups from Win 911. Now, the question might come, can I see the alarms even though I don't receive pop-ups? Yes, if you open the Win 911 mobile app, you should be able to see all the alarms. Right, now with that, the next thing that I want to show you is the reports. So let's go back to the top left, 3 lines, and then hit reports. Here are a couple different reports that you should be able to see, report 1 and report 2. If we click on report 2, we should see a couple tags. Index 1, index 2 is a tag, and you can see the description and the value. They're good. You can have as many alarm tags that you want to see, and the report should be able to come up. This doesn't have to be an alarm. It can just be a tag, and you should be able to see the values, giving you proactively look of what's happening in your plant. Excellent. With that, we can conclude the Win 911 mobile app demo. Thank you.
Thank you all.